Hello and welcome. My name is Glass. Welcome to another completely redundant video on a video game that nobody actually plays anymore. This time I'm going to talk a bit about weapons and skills, spells, stats, all that kind of shit. Basically, a lot of people are asking me if they should go rifle or pistol or melee. And basically, you really should not go rifle, because before the developers left the game, abandoned it, as you may, they released some really good pistols. The AP weapons, they released some amazing pistols. 3 sets of them, whereof the light and the heavies are really good, but the medium ones are probably okay, but kind of meh. And they released some really good pistols and some really good melee that I was going to show you the recipes of, but I don't actually have that anymore. Or not anymore, I don't have it on RON. I'm not going to relog for you. But basically, do I have it? No, I don't. They released some really good pistols, which are balls to the wall, just OP as a motherfucker. There is nothing that even comes close. This may not seem like much, they're basically fuzzy bunnies, but then you put AP on them, and you get more damage, and you get a motherfuck ton of health. You get, I think, like 180 more health or so, which is a lot, very much a lot. However, it also presents a problem, because they did not release a light assault rifle, which would have been amazing for pretty much anyone that PvEs, which I guess is most, or not a lot, I'm not sure. It would have been great with with a light assault rifle, but instead we have this one, the volatile shot. As you can see, this is the last assault rifle they actually released, which is okay, but it's not very good. It does a little bit more damage than the light pistols, and it does not offer you like 180 more health, which means it's basically valueless, because that 180 more health is just amazeballs, no matter how you put it. And basically, if you don't get the extra health, you get something else that's also really good. And that just made everything else redundant. So there's like these sets of pistols and not armor, but pistols and whatnot that you can actually use in in-game PvP, and then everything else is complete trash. And it works in PvE as well, of course, but it's less value there, because PvE is really easy in full math, as you know. And that's kind of the problem, because we got a sniper rifle and I think a medium rifle, and then a shotgun for the rifles, but those are all really good, but with people having just that bit of extra more health, which is like 20% on RON, you can't really kill anyone with it, because you can just heal it, you can just out-heal it, no problem. There's really no issue in out-healing rifles nowadays, and you can, even if you hit every shot with a shotgun, it still shoots so slow and with such low damage, because they raised mitigation caps a lot, meaning that you can now get 60% if you actually put on your armor, which is another issue, because the new armors are just OP as balls. But they raised it to a point where you can get 60% pretty easy, which again means that the shotguns will not do enough damage to actually be interesting or worthwhile. And without a light rifle, you can't really do PvE with rifle. So rifle it's become absolutely terrible. It's become entirely worthless. I think it's really a shame, but you know, it's how format works, especially after the devs left. Maybe we could have gotten one in the 2 years they've been gone almost, or is it 1 year? It actually says it in when you log in. Let's see. Yeah, it's been just over 2 years since the last really updated it. But basically, when people ask me whether they should go pistol, rifle, melee, it's melee if you're really bad at aiming, and you just go melee and you lower your resolution and you can hit every shot. And the same kind of goes for pistol, but if you're extraordinarily bad, you go melee as well. Melee is kind of okay. It's got good DPS. You don't have to reload, and yeah, it's okay. It's pretty bad for PvE, where again pistols just dominate their god tier and everything else is just shit compared to them. But it's pretty good for PvE. Which brings us on to the spells and skills. I haven't played this, or I took a 3-year break where they changed the stat system, where stats now, they changed it so that now you need different stats for different spells. Everyone was complaining about willpower being useless, so they made it even more useless. Which is kind of a strange choice, but I mean, why not? Well, you used to use willpower for power. Yeah. So now we have basically some spells and skills that you pretty much just need them. Like nobody actually goes without empathic anymore. It's like the god tier of spells. And you need armor use. You always get armor use. Dodge is nice, but a lot of people don't really roll with it, especially for PvE, because the mobs don't do a lot of damage. You see, I have pretty low armor use, and I reach 60% armor mitigation pretty easily because I have very high calibration and the blade. And yeah, you need definitely a weapon line. I would heavily recommend pistol, because pistol is just better than everything. Always. And yeah, the list basically goes armor use. First aid is another one you always must have, because you need to heal yourself, because heals are OP in this game. So basically armor use, first aid, and empathic are just skills you almost must have. I heavily recommend you get enhancement as well, even if you can only get like 130, which is a made up number. You need, I think, 120 for the... yeah, 120. But certain people disagree with me on that one, and those people are the guys that like to kill shit more than I do. And that's... you kind of go into the second bracket then, because those are more optional, because you can either get calibration or you can get group tactics, which is also really good. Group tactic has some auras, and it has a fairly good armor debuff as well. And I would suggest you go with either group tactics or calibration for all of your builds, but yeah, it's really up to you. Heavy weapons is really bad. It's kind of cool to see the rocket launchers, but a lot of the time you get a direct hit with a rocket launcher and it just doesn't work. And if you accidentally trigger a spell, say disrupt, with a rocket launcher, it doesn't work. It does nothing. And yeah, there are some issues. Maybe they fixed the one where it doesn't work when you disrupt. I may be lying about that one, but in general, the rocket launchers are pretty fun, but they don't have very good DPS. They're not a main weapon, and as a spell, which they kind of are, I guess, you have to put down your good weapons and then shoot a rocket, and it doesn't work well. And the same goes for grenades, and the spells are really good. So armor debuff, snare if you get ridiculous amounts of it, and yeah, the thing stands. But in general, heavy weapons, it kind of doesn't work. And then we have power and precision. A lot of people get this. I mean, if you're going to PvP, you pretty much need it. I don't actually know how much you need, because I don't like this game. I don't play it a lot, and I really don't like the PvP in it. So after I came back, after those 3 years or so, One thing is that they buffed endurance massively by making it govern power as well as armor use, which are just both really, really good lines. I like having some precision as well, but this is Ron. This is my social craft. He has a social aura and he has crafting, and also nano because I got intelligence anyway, and also calibration because honestly the social aura, which I will show you. Social it used to be pretty acknowledged for PvP and stuff. This used to give, I think it was 25% more heals for a while. I think it was like 50 at the start, but then they nerfed it, of course. But the thing is, with 15% more heals, you get basically one better tier of first aid. So instead of getting to 11, you get less than just putting more EP into first aid and empathic, which is generally speaking cheaper, especially because it does take an aura and there are just so much better auras, and it doesn't really have. That's nice. I'm pretty sure you have to put it on you have to target yourself before casting it, or you will basically give them a buff instead of yourself, if you're fighting someone PvP. And then there's this one that doesn't really work. And again, you get 15% extra heals. That's 30, just 31 or so more health from Starch Wound 6, which is nice. Don't get me wrong, but it's not worth it. Because again, you could get this for cheaper, and with stats that go better with stuff, because charisma is nice, but not so much if you're not getting enhancement. Enhancement. 30 tricks is cool. It's really, really cool for PvP. It's a lot of fun. I like it, but it's not god tier. Like, it's not one of those spells that you just have to get or you will get shit on non-stop, like pistol or melee or whatever, or first aid or armor use and that stuff. But it's cool, it's fun, gives some variety and whatnot. I usually wouldn't go without dodge, but we've covered that. Escape Artist is one I personally don't really like. It makes you harder to spot on the map. It has some good removal, some armor buffs, and yeah, that's about it. It gives you this one that I think is still bugged, where it does something bad if you die while using it, or if it runs out or some shit. I can't remember anymore, but it's some buff issue, which is kind of annoying. Doesn't really, I don't think it allows you to kill or anything, so maybe it does, maybe that's OP as balls, but who knows. Anyway, it's a pretty cool spell. I wouldn't take it for the passive, because the passive it gets countered pretty easily as far as I remember. So basically it only works if they have 0 perception and you have a lot of it, which is kind of uncommon, so to speak. I think that about covers it for the spell, or for the skills. So on to spells. Empathic is a must-have, like I said. Enhancement is really, really good. I personally consider it god tier, even if you only get 120, because it means basically they raised the armor cap, meaning that you now get 60%, and that's very hard to reach without enhancement. And that basically just means enhancement is always value. It used to be less value in PvE because you could get 50 fairly easy without it, and then if you don't get debuffed, there's no reason to go above the cap. Then we have Illumination, which I like, but I don't think it's nearly as good as enhancement. And if you get a support suit, you kind of don't really need Illumination at all. It's fun, but most of the things it would actually buff, you can see with the plus 15% damage, most of the spells in this game are dots. I think there's 3 or 4 instant damage things, and they're not. The cooldowns are so high that even with 15% extra damage, which sounds like a lot, it kind of isn't. It means you'll do like 100 damage with it instead of 90. Again, because of the resists and whatnot. Nano is fucking amazing if you can hit it. If you're, I would say if you're in a group fight, but I guess those don't really happen anymore. But in PvE, it's the godsend. It means you can heal them instantly for a lot of health, which is just really, really good. And again, never ever get willpower. Willpower is just terrible now. Patho, good on paper. I don't know how hard it is to remove all this stuff, but it looks pretty cool. But the cooldowns on it are just so ridiculous that I wouldn't get it. It's like a 2-minute cooldown for the slow, and then they remove it, and then you're like, what the fuck? This one is nice, I guess, but it's not. It doesn't do a lot for what you invest. This one would be really cool as well. Not sure if they can remove it easily, but with a 60-minute cooldown, 60-second cooldown, I don't like it. And basically, it's even if you lower their healing by a lot, it's still, you just shoot them once or twice instead, and you'll have done more damage than this prevents them from healing. Then we have Primal, which is, I like it a lot. The skill shot is basically free because, again, heals are OP as balls. But it's kind of a hard sell. It depends a lot on your build, but if you use any kind of gamma, I've had it block spells that I then couldn't use at all without using the buff, the consumable that gives you more gamma, because you wouldn't have enough to use them basically. It's like a very, very big downside for an okay amount of health, but it's very circumstantial. I don't know. It's a very specific kind of thing, and then Rampage, which is cool, really cool, but again, very big downside. And I personally feel like the downsides make it just, it completely cancels out the upsides. So I don't really use it. I really like the skill shot, but an entire line for one spell is not that good. And then you use the other ones, and it turns out that you needed the gamma or whatever. And I'm not a huge fan of it. And then we have Sonic, which is now based on dexterity, meaning that all the pistoliers get it. It's really good. Has some damage, some instant damage that gets buffed by elimination, but it's not that impressive. It's an okay line, but I think the slow is fairly easily removed. And again, it kind of only works in PvP because, well, first of all, that's less than one shot by a pistol, and that one is just going to aggro everything in a very large area. Not that large, but it's going to aggro everything around you, and it's going to do very, very slight amounts of damage while they come and rape your face. In game PvE at least, because it doesn't kill anyone. Let's be fair. Maybe in PvP if you're lucky, but as for mobs, it will put them on 75% health or so, but it also aggro them all, and that's not good. And we have suppression, which is absolute and complete shit now, I think, because you use a lot of gamma and stamina on reducing their gamma and stamina, except they regenerate it, and a lot of people just shoot you in the face instead of actually using gamma and stamina. It does nothing in PvE, and in PvP it does very little, because a lot of people will be using buffs, which is obvious, and also then your armors just have so much, like the support armor especially has so much regen. Only the support armor, the other ones just make them shoot you faster or harder. And then the defense one makes them take less damage, but I don't particularly like that one, but yeah. And it basically means that you'll get more back than they can take from you in one tick, and this is not optimal for them if they use suppression on you. And this one again only works on your teammates and not yourself, and it costs more than it removes. I'm not a fan. It's very bad. And we have telekinesis, which, if you can hit it, has an amazing armor reduction thing, and then it has two spells that do damage. This one is buffed by illumination, but it does primary resist damage, so it'll get reduced by 60%. So even if it does 230 instead of 200, it does not all that much. It's a nice one though, because it's tab targeted, except you don't press tab, but you know, you press them, you select someone else, and then you cast it. And the same goes for this one, which is, I like it, it's cool, but it's not buffed by illumination and doesn't really do a huge lot. And then we have terminal control. That's not all what it's called. It's called terminal control. That's a really bad spell. That's not gonna do anything good for you. It does what, about 20 damage to someone, then you just use gamma on it, and it's not very good. I don't like it. This one is slightly better. I think this one is buffed by illumination, but again, it's so little. And then we have hypothermia, which is a dot, which is nice. It stacks, well, basically anything that is an ice dot, so it stacks with like telekinesis and sonic and all that shit. And your pistol dot. And then we have Molotov Cocktail, which is buffed by illumination. And I've done builds where I had like the instinct, it's the same as sonic and telekinesis. I've had builds where I had all three of them, and illumination, and it takes, I think, 2 seconds or so, 1.5 seconds to cast, and so does the other two. And that means you basically have to stand there and cast for 6 seconds. You can't move when you use it. And that means they shoot you in the face, or they heal, because the stun wound is they can either cast it or it's off cooldown by the time you cast all 3 spells. And I don't like it. I like the idea of it, but the thing is, the armors and whatnot today are just so much stronger than what your Molotov will actually do. And then you have Napalm, which stacks with the other dot, but well, it stacks with the other dots, but you have to stand still in order to cast it. It takes a full second to cast. It's not one I use a lot, because it does not a lot of damage. In general, dots are pretty worthless in this game, because again, heals are just so ridiculously strong. And also you can remove it with Suck It Up or Preservation. Just generally speaking, most dots aren't even worth removing because they're so weak and they do so little. And you have to cast this, you have to select yourself and cast and everything. So yeah, I wouldn't bother. I think that about covers it. Out of the stats, I would always get endurance, unless this build is not very good, because again, it's Ron. He just stands on this hut all day and just talks, because I'm a dick like that. It's not a very good build for actual fighting and shit. I have a lot of just wasted AP, because I have, for example, I have calibration and motivational speaker, which doesn't really stack, but I like the passive from the social one, because as a crafter, which Ron very much is, he craftsman buys a lot of stuff from merchants. For the stats in general, I would always get some endurance. I'd usually just max it, or at least get enough to get 170 armor use, because going without 170 armor use is kind of stupid, to be honest. I wouldn't usually get charisma because the lines it governs, social, empathic, and enhancement are good, very, very good. Social I don't like, as I said, but these other two are very good. But you don't really need charisma because 130, or I think it's 129 for this one, 129 empathic, 120 enhancement is way, way good. It's like very, very good. And then going above that means you have to invest way more into each point, because you need charisma as well as, you know, the actual line. And at that point, I don't think it's a very good value, because you get so much with the first points anyway, and the heals are OP, so you don't need more than 130, to be frank. You wouldn't get 130, but you get so little extra, but it's so good without it as well. And intelligence is pretty good. I like getting it of precision as well as for healing. But in general, I think the only one I will max just for maxing it is endurance, because it gives you so much health, and it's again governs armor use, which are both the best I got here in Full North. I think that about covers it. It's been a very incoherent, in-depth kind of video, and I think it'll serve its purpose. I don't think Full North is a very good game, and I don't agree with what they've done to it. And that specifically means that I don't agree with how OP pistols have gotten, simply because they made the original content, which is great and very well balanced, and then they came out with Tonal Woods and Level 50 and volatile stuff, and that's also fairly good, but the flavor in the gear has definitely come down a bit by that point. There's less downsides to the upsides, so to speak. And then Gore came out, which used to be incredibly strong, but now is... I looked at the big bastards recently, and I think they do 7 more damage than the Fussy Bunnies, but I can't remember if they shot slower or if they just had lower reload or something, but the DPS is just off, and they're not worth it. They're so expensive, but they nerfed them, and I feel like that was a huge bait and switch from Gamers First, because they released this amazing new content in a released game. This is not a beta or an alpha, this is an actually released game, and they released this completely OP content with stuff for building it that was on the marketplace, and I think what did they charge, like $2.50 or so for one of those enhancement things to roll for an upgrade for it. And it got them some money, I'm sure, but it was so ridiculously overpowered that it kind of split the waters, so to speak, for the community, and a lot of people just left. And it ushered in a new era where basically the people that didn't leave were these very loud people. It's the game became very Call of Duty-esque, and I mean, that was... it ushered in a new era, and then after, I don't know how long, because I kind of left as well, they decided to start nerfing the gore to a point where it's now worse than pretty much anything else. And that kind of made the Call of Duty kids leave as well, because now all of a sudden the game wasn't what they signed up for, and with the veterans still gone, the game has become increasingly empty. And then they left. the developers even got tired of all the bullshit and left 2 years ago, but it felt a lot like a cash grab, so to speak, where gamers first got a bit of money in the coffers, and then they nerfed it to a point where the game was playable again, and then they came out with this new stuff that instead of being ridiculously overpowered in terms of damage, it became ridiculously overpowered in terms of defense. And they raised the primary assists, and they released these new armors that are just so ridiculously good no matter what kind of build you have. And that means that there's no longer there's no need to sacrifice anything. You just keep getting increasingly more powerful after level 55, which is, it's a huge shame, to be honest, because it used to be that there was a lot of variety and stuff in builds, because you could sacrifice one thing to become stronger in another part, and it was really cool. And now the end game PvP is basically just a giant gear check. It's basically become all about having the best armor and then getting pistols immediately, and then just lowering your resolution until you're a god, which is it's not something I particularly agree with. I liked more mutations mattering, and I liked more spells and variety, and I liked getting to use different armor for different things, and they've kind of just removed all that, which is a giant shame, I think. I think Fallen Earth had a lot of potential, but it kind of lost it all. Anyway, that's just an old man ranting. I think that about concludes it. I think some of the mutations, they're cool, but some of them are really bad, and I think that the game has become really, really bad. I think the game has not stayed one I like to play, because the activities in it have become very monotonous. I would say with the fact that they didn't release anything for 2 years again, but what they did release was so specific and so monotonous, and it made it so that you do OP for loot, because everything else, loot, is just less value, and OP only pops just every 6 or 8 hours, meaning that there's a lot of downtime, and that kind of describes Fallen Earth in a nutshell, because a lot of it is just downtime. A lot of it is trying to find someone to do dome with, or do PvP with, or whatever, but the community isn't really there for it. And for PvP as well, there's not a lot of point to it when you get better loot, more money from just other stuff. I really think that's a shame, and I really miss doing the awesome bosses they had. And there's this guy called the Earthwalker in Terminal Woods, which was like the first kind of raid boss kind of thing. You didn't really need a raid for it, but you know, Fallen Earth, so you could do it with 3 people, but it was a lot of fun, a lot of challenge to it. And I think Dome is really fun as well, but the fact of the matter is, in order to get a single pistol, you'll have to run Dome just dozens of times, and doing the same 10 bosses over and over again gets kind of frustrating, kind of boring. It's like in any other MMO you would have more than one dungeon, and you just don't in this one. And the gore bosses were really fun, I think, but again, they aren't instanced, so you just suck them, and the loot from them is just not very good. It's not at all worth it anymore, which is kind of a shame, because Fallen Earth has all this amazing content, and the developers, instead of utilizing it, they just made it redundant, and there's no longer any real need to actually play Fallen Earth, because everyone has the best armor and whatnot, and unless you like PvPing, which I personally don't, then there's no real need for it, especially because the actual PvP in this game has become capture the flag, which is not very, just, it's not very skill based, let's just say it like that. But anyway, these are my opinions on the weapons and the spells and whatnot, and I don't care if you agree, to be honest, but I do wish they would consider actually doing something with the Fallen Earth intellectual property, because seeing it just wash out onto the sand, as we would say in Danish, is kind of just a very sad thing for me, especially because I liked it so much. But it has a lot of potential still, which could be utilized if they actually, say, hired a GM or hired a single developer. They could have one guy sitting in his basement just chopping away, and the potential is there, but they refuse to grab it, which is kind of sad. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video, and have a nice day, I guess.